A very warm welcome in the class of Mathematics 3. Today, in the number theory section, we are going to discuss well ordering principle. Myself, Rupak Bhattacharjee, Assistant Professor, Department of Mathematics, JIS College of Engineering. So, the prerequisites for this class are sets. We know that set is nothing but a collection of well-defined distinct objects, and through our journey of mathematics from the very beginning we have countered through this particular conception, and that conception will also be required in this particular discussion. And the variations of the sets means set of natural numbers, set of real numbers, set of rational numbers, set of complex numbers, and many more. Not only that, from the characteristics point of view, we have to consider finite sets, infinite sets, and etc. So all these things are required in the discussion of today's topic, and obviously some operations like union, intersection, and something like that. These conceptions are also going to be helpful for us in this. And obviously we need the basic idea of number system and the basic idea and the requirement of number theory, what is already discussed in the introductory class of number theory. Please make a little brush up of that class before listening this topic. So let us proceed. If we think about order from the English language point of view, order means to give an authoritative instruction to do something. Hello, you please do this, do that. These are generally termed as order. We also have the idea of these types of orders. What you are seeing over here is that, look at this. This is a screenshot of Amazon, and you are seeing the term called order. But are we talking about these orders, or are we talking about these orders? That means in the court we are seeing in various pictures as well as in various cinemas that the judge is using these types of hammers and saying order. So it is also another authoritative instruction. Or from mathematical point of view, we have from our childhood that the ordering mathematical operations, and we know that there is a rule we are using called Bodmash rule, and this rule tells us that what is the order of the operations if any two or more than them are appearing consecutively. Then what is the first thing we have to operate, then what are the things we have to operate, and so on. Look at this. Ordering more means putting things into their correct place following some rule. This rule is to be predefined, and then following that rule, if the elements are placed in a proper manner, then it is called another type of ordering. So if we have some numbers 3, 12, 5, 2, 9, then putting it into order from highest to lowest is another ordering. Similarly, if we see that another definition, that we are taking a set capital A and we are having there is a relation less than equal to. This is called partial ordering. When it will be called partial ordering? Look at this. For all x in A, x is less than equal to x. Yes, we can say that. If we take suppose 2, then 2 is less than equal to 2, we can say that. So this is under reflexive relationship. After that, if we take x, y, z in A such that x is less than equal to y and y is less than equal to z, then x is less than equal to z, it is called transitive. So look at this. If 2 is less than equal to 3 and 3 is less than equal to 4, then we can say 2 is less than equal to 4. This holds. And finally, for all xy in A, if x is less than equal to y and y is less than equal to x, then x is equal to y. We know that if I write 2 is less than equal to A and 2 is greater than equal to A, what does it mean? It means A is equal to 2. And this property is called antisymmetry. Though the symmetric property does not hold here, but if these three properties are maintained for a relation this, then we are called this is partial ordering. Now this partial ordering of A will be converted to total ordering if for all xy in A either x is less than equal to y or y is less than equal to x. Means you are taking the set A, and for all, this is very important, for all xy in A either x is less than y, less than equal to y, or y is less than equal to x, then it is called total ordering. Now we are going into the well ordering principle. We have learned some relations or some terms related to order, but today's topic is well ordering principle. And what well ordering principle tells us, please let us check. Every word in this definition are important. A non-empty subset S of R will be called well ordered if every non-empty subset of S has a smallest element. You have taken R, you have taken a non-empty subset S of R. After that, what you are doing, you are taking every non-empty subset of S. This S what you have taken from R, you are taking every non-empty subset of S, and every non-empty subset of S if have a smallest element, then we will call that the subset S of R is well ordered. This is our well ordering principle, and this principle will be clear if we are proceeding further with some examples and properties. Now, the principle of mathematical induction, this process is known to you because you have started this in your childhood days. This holds, means this is true if and only if the well ordering principle holds. Means well ordering principle and mathematical induction are equivalent. Clear? Now the principle of well ordering is an existence theorem. Means it does not tell us which element is smallest integer. It will never tell us, but it tells us that every non-empty subset must have a smallest element. It is not going to tell us who is the smallest integer, and it never tells us that how to find out the smallest element. Means it only gives emphasis on the existence, that it is having this. Where it is, how to find it, it is not the job of well ordering principle. Now if we take a set of real numbers, and it will be said well ordered if every non-empty subset of R has a smallest element. Means the definition what I have given here is same as this one. Now according to principle of well ordering, the set of natural numbers is well ordered. Means when you are talking about this, that means you are thinking about this one, the set of natural numbers. Okay, so in the next case, when we are moving forward, the well ordering principle shows that Q, that means set of rational numbers, is not well ordered. So let us try. So what we are doing, please follow the logical steps. What we are doing, we have taken X from Q and we are claiming that X is the smallest element in Q. So if I take X minus 1, it will also be in Q, because if you subtract 1 from a rational number, you will get another rational number. and that rational number will also be one element of the set of rational numbers. But x minus 1 is a rational number, and obviously x minus 1 will be smaller than x, and our claim was x is the smallest element in Q, and we get x minus 1 in such a way that it is smaller than x as well as it is within Q. So our claim for minimality of x is not true, it contradicts. So our initial claim, that is the x is the smallest element in Q, will also don't be true. So this shows that Q does not have a smallest element. It is true that there are very less number of lines which are sufficient to prove these types of statements, but every line, every word has to be too much logical and has to be sequential. Okay, so nutshell, we can claim that Q is not well ordered. Next, we are moving for the interval, closed interval 0 to 1 is not well ordered. How? Because if we can make all possible subsets of this one is having smallest entry, then it is well ordered. And for the counter proof, if I can find out at least one subset which don't have a smallest element, which don't have any smallest element, then our job is done. So a set of real numbers is said to be well ordered if every non-empty subset in it has a smallest element. This is known to us according to the definition. So next we forward in this manner that a well ordered set must be non-empty and have a smallest element, otherwise how you can claim that it will be well ordered. And finally, having a smallest element does not guarantee that a set of real numbers is well ordered. If you have a smallest element in a subset, then it can't claim that it is going to be well ordered. But the reverse is true. If it is well ordered, then obviously it must have smallest element. Next, the properties. A well ordered set can be finite or infinite, but a finite set is always well ordered. So look at this. If you take a finite set 1, 2, 3, 4, then obviously you can find out that there is a smallest element. And if you take all possible subsets, all those subsets will be also finite. So every finite subset must have the smallest element. So in this way you can claim that if it is a finite set, then obviously it will be well ordered. Next, there are some questions for your understanding. The well ordering principle says that every non-empty set of what has a least or smallest element. So there are four options: non-negative rationals, positive rationals, non-negative integers, and negative integers. So if you take the set of negative integers, this will be something like that. So where is the smallest element? If you take about non-negative rationals, then also if you are talking about non-negative rationals, then you will have some rational numbers which are positive. But how you can get the smallest entry? Because when you are taking a smallest entry and you can get that difference between 0 and that smallest entry, the difference will be divided by 2 and it will be added with the element of the rational number, you will get that is smaller than this one. So in this way you will never reach to the smallest entry. But if you take non-negative integers means it will start from this. So obviously there will be 0. So you will have every subset of this particular set will be having the least entry. So this will be the correct answer. Next question. In the prime products example, we know that every integer greater than 1 is a product of primes. We will prove it in the consecutive classes also. By showing the set is counter example is how I will show. The counter example is empty, whether it is small, it has a least element, or it cannot be ordered. So what is our target? Well ordering proofs and counter examples. So look at this. In the prime product example, it will be proved by showing the counter example is empty, because if it is empty, that means we can prove every integer is greater than 1 is a product of primes, every integer, because our assumption is null. That means there is no such integer for which we can't write it in this way. Clear? Now next we are moving for the next part. There are some questions and I have taken it from the classes of MIT. A set of numbers is well ordered when each of its non-empty subsets has a minimum element, and so on. We know that. My question is that of the following sets, we have to indicate which are well ordered. The integers greater than equal to minus root 2, the integers greater than root 2, the rational numbers greater than equal to root 2, the set of rationals of the form 1 by n, where n is a positive integer. So let us take this example, it is very interesting. If you take the set of rationals of the form 1 by n, where n is positive integer, so n will start from 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, and so on. So what you are getting, if you are writing this set, so if it is your 1, it is your 1 by 2, it is your 1 by 4, and so on. So it is approaching in this direction, but you will not get any element of 1 by n which is smallest in the form of 1 by n, because if you get 1 by n, then 1 by n plus 1 is smaller than this. If you take 1 by n plus 1, then 1 by n plus 2 is smaller than this, and so on. So in this way actually we have to think. Look at this, the next example. The set of rationals of the form 1 by n, where n is a positive integer less than 10 to the power 10, 10 to the power 100. So what they are saying, if we take 1 by n, where n is a positive integer less than 10 to the power 100, less than equal to 10 to the power 100, that means it will go up to 1 by less than equal to 10 to the power 100. After that it will not go. So what will be the case? 1 by n has a limit. So in this manner actually we have to think. Look at the next to next example. The set F of fractions of the form n by n plus 1. So it is also of the form n by n plus 1. So if it will go on and on and on and on, what you are getting? Are you going to get some point where you can claim it is the minimum one or the least one? In the similar manner, the next two examples are there, and let us check what are the answers. So the integers greater than equal to minus root over 2 are well ordered. The integers greater than, because we have to take the integers. So if you take root over 2 and if it is 1.41, so the integers greater than root over 2 are starting from 2, 3, 4 and so on. So you have the least entry over here. Not only that, you can take any non-empty subset of this, you will get the least entry. But the rational numbers greater than equal to root 2, now look at this, you can go more close and more close and more close, but you will not get the finally the smallest entry over here. Similarly, for the next problem, the set of rationals of the form 1 by n, what is already discussed in the last page, because you will not be able to get the least entry. But for the next problem, when you are taking n equal to 10 to the power 100, then there is a lower limit of these numbers. That means as n is bounded by this, so it will be having well ordered property. And similarly for the remaining all four all will have the well ordering property according to the definition. So we are moving forward. We are going to consider some sets A, B and C, and let us check what is A. A is the elements taken from the set of natural numbers which are multiple of 3. So how they will be look like? So this is the smallest entry in the whole set. Not only that, if you take any subset of this, you will get a smallest entry. So if I start from here, the smallest element may not be easy to find, but it is obvious that the smallest entry in A is 3, like this. Now for B is given, we are taking the number from natural number set, and n is equal to minus 11 plus 7m for some m in z. Z means set of integers. So our target is to keep n in capital N. So minus 11 plus 7m must be greater than 0 because n starts from 1. So minus 7m minus 11 plus 7m is greater than 0. This means n is greater than 11 by 7, means it is greater than 1.57. So from where it will start? So it will be starting from greater than equal to 2. Now if n is greater than equal to 2, if you put it here, then what you are going to get? The smallest element of B is minus 11 plus 7 into 2, because this is the lowest entry of M. M will go on and it will be bigger and bigger. So the smallest entry of B is minus 11 plus 7 into 2, that is 3. So it can be possible for us to find it out. And similarly, if we have another example where n is equal to x square minus 8x plus 12, if we want to keep it within our set of natural numbers, then this thing must be greater than 0, like this. And if this is greater than 0, then factorizing we get x minus 2 into x minus 6 greater than 0. So this total product will be greater than 0 when this one is greater than 0, this one is greater than 0, or this one is less than 0 and this one is less than 0. Otherwise it will not be greater than 0. So we need x is less than 2. So if we have the number line here 2 and 6, so x is less than 2 or x is greater than 6. So in this manner, if we determine the value of x, because as x is in z, x will take the value 1 or 7. So if we put 1 or 7, what we are getting, look at this, 1 square minus 8 into 1 plus 12, that is 5. Or if we put 7, then also we are getting 5. So the smallest element in C is 5. The smallest element in C is 5. So these are also the applications of well ordering principle. Now the principle of well ordering may be true over real numbers or negative integers. We are going to take the set 2 examples, set Z and the open interval 0, 1. This is very easy because this is not having any smallest element for any integer x, because we know that it will start from this, then minus 2, then minus 1, 0, 1, 2 and so on. So how you can find out the smallest entry? So Z is not having any smallest element, but this is very important, open interval 0, 1. Already I have given the clue for this open interval 0, 1. This gives us that if I take x is within 0 and 1, then obviously x by 2 will be within 0 and x within less than 1. In this manner, if you proceed, x by 2 square is less than x by 2, x by 2 cube is less than x by 2 square, and so on. So in this manner, we will get this particular expression, everything will be greater than 0. But gradually it is going to be 0. That means it is going to smaller and smaller, but we are not able to find out the smallest entry. So if we keep getting smaller and smaller numbers, all of them are positive and there is no end in this particular process. So 0, 1 does not have a smallest element. And the closed interval 0 1 and the open interval 0 1, if you try to find out the relationship between them, we have to claim that this one is a subset of this one, and as this is not having any smallest entry, so this is also not well ordered, because the definition tells us that every non-empty subset of this set has to be well ordered, and we are getting one counter example that this is one non-empty subset of this which is not having any smallest entry, so it is not going to occur that closed interval 0 1 is also not well ordered. Now this is the basic idea of principle of induction, and we know that principle of induction works like this, that if 1 belongs to S, that means if you are taking the particular expression that it is true for 1 by verification, then you are assuming that it is true for K. That means whenever a natural number K belongs to S, then K plus 1 also belongs to S. If these two are true, then S is equal to N. Means if you are talking about it is true for S, it is true for N. So now we are going to solve some problems by principle of mathematical induction, because principle of mathematical induction and well ordering principle are nothing but two sides of a coin. So we are trying to find out the result, or to prove this one, that principal induction method will give this. So we will start it from this. So let us take Pn is equal to 1 plus 2 plus, instead of this you can write it in this way also, Pn 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus dot 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 plus n is equal to n into n plus 1 by 2 is true. So for n equal to 1, what we are getting, P1 is from the left hand side is 1, and from the right hand side is 1 into 1 plus 1 by 2, that is 1. So for n equal to 1, Pn is true. Now we are assuming Pn is true for K up to K. So what is that? 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus dot 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 plus K is equal to K into K plus 1 by 2. Now we are trying it for n equal to K plus 1. So in the left hand side we will add K plus 1, as well as in the right hand side we will add it as K plus 1. So after simplifying in the right hand side, we can say it will be like this. And in the right hand side we are getting, in the left hand side we are getting 1 plus 2 plus 3 up to K plus K plus 1. So what is this? This is the summation up to K plus 1th term, and this is the result which is of the form this one. How we are able to prove this? For P n equal to 1, it is verified. For Pn n equal to K, it is assumed. For Pn n equal to K plus 1, it is proved. So for n equal to 1, it is true, implies n equal to 2, it is true. For n equal to 2, it is true, implies n equal to 3, it is true. By this property. In this manner, for n equal to 100, it will imply n equal to 101, for it will be true, and so on. means you will get the whole set of natural numbers over here for the proof of this one. So now we can claim that by using principle of induction we have proved this for all natural numbers n. Now we proceed further and we will get another problem that we have to prove for all n in the natural number set 2 plus root 3 whole to the power n plus 2 minus root 3 whole to the power n is an even integer. So we are going to prove it by mathematical induction, and the mathematical induction will tell us that this is true if we take for n equal to 1. What we are getting, we are verifying the process. So 2 plus root over 3 plus 2 minus root over 3 is equal to 4. It is even. Now we are assuming it is our verification. Now our assumption is that for n equal to k it is true, implies 2 plus root 3 whole to the power k plus 2 minus root 3 whole to the power k is an even integer. It is our assumption. Now for n equal to k plus 1 we are testing, and what we are getting as the result of the test, 2 plus root over 3 whole to the power k plus 1 plus 2 minus root over 3 whole to the power k plus 1. Okay, now we can write it as a to the power k plus 1 plus b to the power k plus 1, where a is 2 plus root 3 and b is 2 minus root 3. So in the next line we can write as a to the power k plus b to the power k into a plus b, a to the power k plus 1 plus b to the power k plus 1. What are the things are extra? A to the power k into b and b to the power k into a. These two are extra, so we have to adjust. So a to the power k into b, from that if I take common ab, we will get a to the power k minus 1 plus b to the power k into a. If I take ab common, then it will be having b to the power k minus 1. In the next line what we can write, for this part a plus b, you have got it here, it is 4. So it will be 4 into a to the power k plus b to the power k. Then minus, we can write it as a to the power k minus 1 plus b to the power k minus 1. If you calculate the values of a and b, what you are getting as the value of ab is a plus b into a minus b, that is a square minus b square. So 4 minus 3 is equal to 1. That is why in place of AB it is written as 1. So now look at this, the most important step we are now here. A to the power k plus b to the power k is an even integer, it is assumed, or you can think by this multiplication of 4 it will be an even number. And as we have assumed that it is true for n equal to k, so if you put k minus 1 it will also be even number, because up to k it is true, it is assumed after verifying n equal to 1. So what you are getting, that one even number minus another even number is always an even number. So what we are getting, that if pk is true, this is very important, if, then pk plus 1 is also true. So if pk is true and then it will implies pk plus 1 is true, we can put the value of k equal to 1 and it is verified that it is true, then p2 will be true, then p3 will be true, and pk will be true, pn will be true for n belongs to set of natural numbers. Means for all n belongs to set of natural numbers, your calculation is done. Now there is an interrelationship between three informations. This is basically for your reading. Well ordering principle is a property of positive integers which is equivalent to the statement of principle of mathematical induction, what we have already discussed and used. Now the next statement what we are getting, the principle of mathematical induction, it is a fundamental proof technique what we have already used. And next what we are getting, look at this, the fundamental proof technique or method of infinite descent is a proof technique which follows from the well ordering principle. So what we are getting, basically this will create a loop of this pattern. So second one is coming from the first statement and third statement is coming from the second statement, and the third statement is having another connection with the first statement. So mathematically this is the beauty. Yes, it is some little bit advanced reading, so you have to do this if you want. Now coming into the assignment part, there are some problems for you that you have to prove every positive integer greater than 1 can be factored as a product of primes. N can be factored as product of prime p1 to the power alpha 1, p2 to the power alpha 2, pk to the power alpha k, where p1, p2, pk are all primes. Next, this is the discussion of today's class, that find the smallest element in each of these subsets of n, and accordingly what we have practiced, you have to do this in the same manner so that all the conditions will be maintained. And next you have to determine which of the following subsets of the R, means set of real numbers, are well ordered. So among them who are well ordered, and obviously you have to justify your answer. So this is the thing for assignments, and now these are the references what we have used for preparing this particular lecture. So hope that you have understood this one. So thanking you all, happy listening, happy learning.